Speaker, my question is to the Premier. Premier, we're just coming off one of the coldest winters on record, and the consequences of your reckless hydro policies are more apparent than ever. Most Ontarians are struggling because the cost of energy is rising much faster than their ability to pay. This is because they're paying 14 cents a kilowatt hour, plus all the extras you slap on, like the global adjustment, debt retirement charge, and distribution costs for on-peak electricity. When your government took office, they were paying 4.3 cents a kilowatt hour. Premier, the current chaos in the energy system is all on you. The only way to fix it is to change direction. Will you turn away from your failed energy policies, which have damaged our economy and caused untold misery to ratepayers, and commit to making Ontario, once again, an energy competitive jurisdiction?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, Mr. Speaker, let me just say to the member opposite that the fact is, when we came into office, the electricity system in this province was degraded, it had been neglected, it was in no shape to deliver reliable power to people across this province, Mr. Speaker. 10,000 kilometres of transmission line have been rebuilt and repaired, Mr. Speaker, because that party did not put the money into infrastructure that was needed, Mr. Speaker. So, we have done that work. We have made those investments, and we are aware, Mr. Speaker, that there's a cost associated with that. And so I hope that the member opposite, is very pleased at the plan that we announced.
The member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke will come to order, as will the member from Glengarry, Prescott, Russell. Carry on, please.
The Ontario Electricity Support Program, Mr. Speaker, that in fact addresses the fact that people on low income are struggling in many cases and they need a break, and that's what that program will provide them, Mr. Speaker.
Back to the Premier. Premier, you know that the primary reason hydro bills are going up is because of your Green Energy Act and its intermittent, unreliable and expensive energy. Your announcement last week about the stipend you'll be giving to low-income energy consumers is nothing more than a shell game. Almost every ratepayer is struggling to pay their bills because under your watch, hydro bills have gone up more than tripled since 2003. Wow. People have no faith in your ability to administer this sliding scale shell game. As the Ombudsman investigation clearly shows, your team can't even get a simple residential bill right, even though you've wasted $2 billion on your smart meter fiasco. Premier, how much more bureaucracy will be needed to administer this new convoluted program, and how much more will that cost the energy ratepayers of this province?
Mr. Speaker, the Ontario Electricity Support Program is designed specifically to help people who have the lowest income in the province and who are struggling, Mr. Speaker, and I think that is exactly the kind of support that needs to be put in place. The fact is, we took a dirty electricity system, Mr. Speaker, we shut down the coal-fired plants, we've rebuilt the system, we've made the investments that were needed, Mr. Speaker, and so we're dealing with a clean energy regime now in Ontario. The other thing that we've done, Mr. Speaker, is we have
The member from Lanark will come to order. You're inches away. I can hear it. Jim, do something about that. Carry on.
Speaker, we did agreements like the Samsung agreement that will actually save $3.7 billion. We've changed the domestic content rules, Mr. Speaker. We are working with Quebec on off-peak, on-peak agreement, Mr. Speaker, that will allow us to get clean power from Quebec, Mr. Speaker, at a time when they need it, and send our power to them when they need it, Mr. Speaker. So we've taken a system that was not reliable.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Premier, you're always congratulating yourself on how egalitarian you are, but the hydro system you've created is anything but fair and equal. As revealed by the Sunshine List, salaries for staff at the energy sector are rising sharply. 77% of Hydro One employees and 80% of OPG employees made over $100,000 last year. At the same time, ratepayers have seen their salaries
Minister of Economic Development.
300,000 people in the manufacturing sector don't have a paycheck at all. Yep. Because of your economic mismanagement and Ontario's anemic growth since your party took power. Premier, it is your duty to ensure there is balance in the system between the remuneration of employees and the consumer's ability to pay. Ratepayers cannot afford to wait any longer. Will you live up to your own rhetoric, scrap the Green Energy Act, and restore some semblance of balance to our energy system?
Development, Employment and Infrastructure.
Minister of Economic Development.
For goodness sakes, Mr. Speaker, the people he's talking about are the very people who run our nuclear plants. Do you really think that that's where we should go in terms of reducing salaries? The people who run our nuclear plants? Mr. Speaker, when we go to bed at night, we want to make sure we have the best people in the world running our energy system. Right now, when you look at people like Tom Mitchell, considered the best of doing the kind of work that he does in the world. We owe it to the people of this province, Mr. Speaker, to ensure we have the best quality people running organizations like OPG, to ensure that those nuclear plants are safe for all Ontarians to be able to know, Mr. Speaker, we have one of the best records in the world when it comes to nuclear. That is not the place to start when it comes to cutbacks. That in this government, Mr. Speaker, will not in any way sacrifice safety for the sake of, Mr. Speaker, anything with regard to cutting back like the member wants.
Thank you. No question. Leader of the third party.